think the early years of marriage were quite challenging for us. I don't know whether you'd agree, but...
No, very challenging.
They were challenging. And, you know, I think you have got this fairy tale image of what marriage might be like, but actually we both came from broken homes. We both, you know, really came to it with all kinds of expectations, and then we were suddenly thrown together and you're trying to work out, well, what do you think about how to run your household finances, about your responsibilities, how you communicate, and actually that was a massive steep learning curve for us.
And it takes such a long time to learn it as well, because I think you expect it within a couple of weeks we'll sort it out. Yeah. And it just took a long time and lots of arguments and good stuff and real tough stuff. I think the lack of support also, everyone sort of backed off a little bit and just let us sort it out.
Well, we did some marriage prep, didn't we? But it was almost like after the wedding day, that was it. We were kind of like, oh, wow, you're ready and good to go. But actually that was just the beginning of learning how to try and work stuff out together. And it wasn't easy those first few years.
No, very challenging. I always knew I had an eye condition from a very young age because I couldn't see at night. And when I moved to London, and that's when I was diagnosed, and they said night blindness was only the first symptom of a bigger condition. And that was a bit of a bombshell, really, because it's saying you're going to lose all your sight.
Mark was diagnosed when he was about 25 years old with a degenerative eye condition called Retinitis Pigmentosa, and it's something that just gradually gets worse. He's got about 2 or 3% left now in daylight in the centre of his vision, and we're just kind of clinging on to that for dear life now, but it will eventually go. And he's had it, I guess, nearly 20 years since the diagnosis now. You know, I think we began to realise there that how we operated as a couple, what our expectations were for the future, you know, in the space of one appointment, that picture of our future and how we worked as a couple. I mean, Mark lost his driving licence that day, you know, so actually even from a very practical point of view, everything changed and has continued to change, really.
Like, the truth is, none of us know what the future is going to look like anyway. But we all make up stories in our heads of how it's going to unfold. And I think this was just a major factor that impacted the story more than we were expecting, or we weren't expecting, basically.
Practically speaking, when something shifts in your life, and for us, you know, obviously that has been a disability, but I guess for some of our friends it's been things like, you know, redundancy or career changes or children. But, you know, for us, when something like that happened, it not only made practical changes, which have been quite huge, but also emotionally it is different as well. When all of a sudden, you know, I've had to become a lot more responsible and had to do, you know, the driving and the DIY and arranging different things and writing all the Christmas cards or different things like that. But so I sometimes, if I'm honest, I found that, you know, frustrating to have to take so much responsibility.
Well, you still find that frustrating,
I
don't
do. You know, I do find that it's not how I pictured our partnership to look. You know, you have a certain image in your mind which is based on I don't know what it's based on, you know, some kind of imaginary ideal of what you think that marriage is going to be like. But life is never that straightforward, is it? And the way of really coming together in that is working out what we can still do. So instead of focusing on, okay, we can't see a film at the cinema easily together, or we can't go for a walk on bumpy ground, you know, what are the things that we can do together?
It is when we're together, it does work better, because maybe this is a bit selfish, but when you're in a situation where I know Cathy's got that, I know I don't have to worry about, you know, dealing with that situation, and I know sometimes that she'll just step in and sort that out.
I work all over the place as a freelancer, so I'm often running around the country. But when I do go away, we've had to just get lots and lots of people to help, haven't we?
But that's not just because I'm blind. That's just because we're a busy life. You have lots of kids doing lots of different things, and you physically just can't. You know, it takes 2 people to do a lot of this stuff. So blindness is a factor in that, in trying to juggle modern busy life.
I think that's every couple though, you know, when you're really busy and you've both got loads going on and you're, you know, at that stage where maybe your careers are developing, it's trying to work out, you know, how am I going to help you to be able to do everything you need to do, and how can I help you, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think you've been quite good with that, knowing that you can't help in some ways. You have tried to organise the lifts and stuff so that I can go away, and I've really appreciated that.
And I know when you're working in something that you like to do, then you're happier, and when you're happier, so are we. And but it's actually it's about fulfilment and being useful and using, as you've been using yours and developing your gifts, is whether that means going around, and you do that with me, and I want to do that with you.
Actually, I think it's been emotionally really trying to make sure that when one person's struggling, so when the clocks change and the light fades and Mark's little bit of vision decreases, that I'm kind of up and positive for him, but also then when there's times where I'm really feeling low about it, that he's like, no, we can do this. There's lots we can still do together. And I think together we just try and make sure that it's only one of us at a time. There are rare moments where we're both really struggling, but it tends to be that we kind of help each other back up out of any little pits of despair.
So despite Cathy and I doing things differently and approaching things differently, it is when we work together and when we sort of meet up together and talk, we suddenly find that our lives are richer together. Because it's great having friends and things around, but when you're together, it's more than a friend. It's someone who knows life and does life with you. And it just makes life richer.